do you feel about poetry?
Poetry? Why the hell are you asking me about poetry?
Do you like it?
Careful with that thing. We're not even
That looks right.
Yatzli, when all of this is behind us, are you... going back to Fiorme Severnal?
It's hard to imagine leaving forever, especially with Quilici still there. Well, what about you, dearie?
Even if I could go back, it wouldn't be the same. Who knows? Maybe getting banished was the best thing that's happened to me in a while.
Maybe Fior was holding you back. And you can return one day to rub all your success in their...
Thirdborn. If it weren't for the Leviathan skeleton in the middle of town, I'd hardly recognize the place. Well, that's what I'm trying to nail down. You ever come back to a place and feel like the buildings are smaller and the colors are duller? Then you get it. Thirdborn was always this rugged oasis. Dangerous and out of the way, but bursting with vitality. It was a harbor for larger-than-life types. People like Capo, the Leviathan Slayer, and Tama. Glory seekers, trophy hunters, warriors trying to leave their battles behind. People who built around their stories and their scars. All that vigor's been wrung dry. Being back, it felt like we were watching Thirdborn die a slow death. Yeah, but I thought age was supposed to bring wisdom, something to balance out the back pains and creaky knees. I think what's eating at me is that Thirdborn seems rudderless. The Dream Scourge is one threat, conflict with Adir is another. The Living Lands is changing, and Thirdborn feels like a barnacle on a moving ship. Temeriti's leading them as best she can, but towards what? What are we doing out here besides surviving? Or it'll go the way of the godless and their ruins. Not sure which idea makes me more uneasy. What about you? You were sent by your emperor to investigate the Dream Scourge. Since then, you've died, met a secret god, and gotten swept up in tensions between your empire and our scattered settlements. Between releasing Egwolf and thwarting the Steel Garrote and Emerald Stair, you've opposed your empire's interests. Do you know what you're sailing towards, or are you drifting with the tides? That kind of clarity is rare. Thanks for talking. I hope Thirdborn is able to find its way somehow. a marker of his service to Thirdborn's defense, and something that helps his comrades identify his remains, if needed.
You always hope it won't come to that.
You hope it won't, but you know it might. It's an old Rauataian naval tradition that Thirdborn's kept alive, and another debt I owe him. I'll be here if you need me. Hey, I wanted to talk to you about what happened in Emerald Stair. I know your Emperor sent you here to represent Adir. But the Steel Garrote trying to raise Fjord has got to make things harder for you. Then why did your Emperor send them? Look, I'm not trying to hold your feet to the fire over this. The cruelty behind the Steel Garrote's plans. It's hard to reconcile that with the place you've called home. I just wanted to know how you're feeling about all this. Yeah, I told you about my time fighting under Rauatai's flag in the Deadfire. Seeing what we did there, what we allowed. I felt like the home I knew was changing, bit by bit, or maybe I was. Enough about me, though. I want to know about you. Give yourself time. You're the only one who can make that decision. And you're the one who'll have to live with it. Anyway, I just wanted to check in with you. This may be your burden, but you don't have to carry it alone. What's on your mind? I can take watch. I'll be up a while anyway. Something about being back has me feeling restless. Shake the sand out of your bedroll before you settle in.
Listening to Yatzli's thoughts about godless ruins is one thing. Bringing her along for the rest of the trip is something else. Well, don't you think it's a little convenient? You need to go somewhere no one ever goes, and here she is to show you the way. If she's read anything about the garden, it was written centuries ago. Obviously, things have changed since then. Bothered? Pedraku. It's my job to guide you as safely as possible. What you're doing isn't safe. I'll go along with whatever you decide. Just don't be disappointed when she doesn't show you what you wanted to see. Anyway. You too. I suppose if you're on a wild goose chase, there are worse places to do it. At least I know how to deal with those sorts of things. Rope, lantern, extra water skins. Yatzli's got you going in all sorts of abandoned ruins. Who knows what's down there? More questions, most likely. And spiders. How come the answers are never in a little oasis with shade and drink service? I just want to make sure we've covered all the options before we dive headfirst into another deadly ruin. Right. Just keep it in mind, I guess. Anyway. Pleasant dreams. I have a moment to talk. Right. What do you need? Right. Changing the subject. Thanks for talking.
The dream scourge is getting worse. First our land, then our animals. Now our people. If we don't put a stop to it, we're looking at the end of the living lands. I keep trying, and the world keeps punishing me for it. As if the dream scourge wasn't enough of a problem, the Adirans are profiting off our misfortune. They haven't come to help us. They're here to exploit our weakness. Let's hope it never comes to that. But when it does, I'll be at your side. It's too bad. We're fighting for our lives, our souls, and our freedom. I don't know if we can win all three. You really think so? My apologies for acting cynical, but it feels as if nature, politics, and even the very gods are working against us. I don't appreciate being backed into a corner, but here I am. Despite everything that's happened, I'm so grateful to be working with Yatzli. In many ways, Quilici has been like a second father to me. But Yatzli, she's like my dirty aunt who's up to no good. Well, she's an expert in that field. While I have your attention, I've been thinking. Why is Inquisitor Ludwig suddenly interested in godless ruins? She's a smart one. I'll give her that. We should be ready for anything. Something tells me Ludwig isn't finished with us yet. You too. Good evening. Not before I've done some...
For the camp of an official Adiran envoy, I was expecting a little more. A proper bed, at least. But I suppose this will do for now. As long as you have a bath, of course. With how overwrought you Adirans can be, I expected at least some tacky rugs. But, as riveting as it is to complain about our accommodations, I imagine you have another topic in mind? I'm the only buyer you'll find here, and I already have the jar. A lesson for next time, darling. It's always worth some haggling. Unfortunately, it's been quite some time since I've met another who focused on the godless as I do. And I imagine I'd be more knowledgeable on the subject than anyone else you could find. I've yet to be burned in a single flame trap, and I don't intend to start anytime soon. Fair guess, though. When I got my first grimoire as a child, I was trying out some of the fancy new spells I'd been given. I was attempting a simple illusion spell, but I must have slurred my words. The next thing I know, everything was on fire. No! Well, me, obviously, but otherwise, no. What is childhood but for silly things? When else can you get away with arson? My father was able to pull me from the flames as my mother doused them. I burned myself badly enough to give myself some vivid dreams, but the house still stood at the end. Of course. Now I only burn those that deserve it, like mosquitoes and university administrators. The only lasting damage was my burn mark and the dreams. Always a pleasure. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to find the most comfortable pile of dirt I can.
Yatzli, no pressure. But why haven't you and Quilici said...
Seeds of change, their petals sprout across the barren land. They sing to the unwanted ones, and the unwanted ones sprout in turn. The soil remembers what it once was. It will soon be whole, safe. The soil does not want these cities. yearns for silence, for the kestrel song. But first, the sprouted ones will grow. They will bring the stillness and the birdsong. The dam falls. The river returns to its source. It is how the land was and should always be. We want all of them gone. We wish for life to flourish again. Pilchards growing on bushes. Life that should not be here. Death nourishes the soil. All things come from the rot. The spider devours her mate to lay her eggs. We ponder, dream of shifting sands now. We will speak again.